You see that video going around Toby in the airport?
When he's yelling at the guy?
No, it was a video of Toby, Garfield, Zendaya, and Tom, and they're all happy to be there with the paparazzi. And then it zooms into Tobey Maguire, and he looks miserable, like from the paparazzi. It's so funny.
He doesn't like the spotlight.
He doesn't.
No.
He deserves it though.
That's why he's avoided all movies, except this one.
Yeah, you can't avoid this one. You'd be stupid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. We are back. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey and Teddy, here to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home, a movie that the entire world has already seen and probably already reviewed, right? Even people who don't review movies at this point on Amazon or Letterboxd, wherever you review movies. But we're going to talk about it, the most anticipated movie of the year. It's a movie that we talked about many times on this podcast, speculating on who was going to be in it, what it was going to be about, if it was going to be good. And I would say that it was a pretty good movie. Great movie, some people would say. And obviously a box office success. So I'll throw it to you guys. What do you think about Spider-Man No Way Home?
That was a spectacle to watch, you know. The fact that I doubted that they were going to do a good job with bringing all these characters back in, I feel like an idiot. But when you sit back and look at it, it's like, there has to be doubt there. Like, they're bringing back 2 Spider-Men, they're bringing back 6 villains, and the fact that they did it all so smoothly, grounded, they gave Tom Holland a different arc than like we've never seen him, and they just nailed it on every aspect. So kudos to them, man. Good job.
Feige can rest easy.
Yeah, I gave the okay. I feel like an idiot for doubting. I really do.
Well,
I'm just sitting there watching the whole time. I'm like, is this really happening right now?
I mean, when you think about it, like, the movies, you might not like all MCU movies, or some might not live up to like whatever expectations you have, but the big ones, the ones with the most anticipation and most excitement surrounding them, Endgame, Infinity War, and this one, they've delivered on all 3 pretty spectacularly, in my opinion. I think, like, obviously going into it, we knew, right? I don't think anyone really had their doubts. But even they made those moments, like, just, it was like I had no idea, even though I knew.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it once they brought them in, right? When he...
Because it's like, when are they going to come in? How are they going to come in? What's it going to be like when they come in? And, like, I don't know. When I saw that, I was just like a fucking child again in a theater with a big goofy smile on my face and my Spider-Man shirt that no one could see because I was wearing a coat.
Did you know it was him coming in, though? When I actually thought he got Tom Holland.
No.
I was thrown for a loop there for a second. I know, yeah. Well, you saw it in the dark alley, you knew it wasn't his suit.
I got eyes like a hawk.
All right.
Hawkeye. That's
See,
a cool
at first
superhero,
I
man.
thought that the ring opens a portal to another universe, and I got confused about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, because it looked aesthetically like his Spider-Man, you know, in the dark. He was always in the dark Spider-Man. I mean, he said it himself that he'd stop pulling his punches, at least in the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great scene. It was a great introduction, and I think overall the movie, it may be the best example of fan service ever. And fan service can work, fan service can be really bad, but they did what they didn't have to, in that they improved upon the movies that came before it. Something you didn't have to do, and they tied up this trilogy, a satisfying ending for a lot of people who had misgivings about the first 2 movies. I think everyone could say with confidence this might be the definitive Spider-Man.
Right. And
with
like,
confidence this might be.
well, like, I think that's like just a quick overview before we get into like the rest of the movie. I think that was like what they did the best, is that they brought these characters in, the Spider-Man particularly, and it didn't take away from Tom Holland's story, rather it improved upon it.
Yeah.
And it like supplemented it so well, and the fact of what he's dealing with and who he's trying to become and finding out what it means to be Spider-Man and the whole revenge aspect, and having these 2 mentors who've been through it already help bring this character along. It's not Tony Stark doing it this time. It's not like how everyone complains. It's not anybody else. This is Spider-Man giving Spider-Man advice of what it is to be Spider-Man, and it helps, and it like plays so well into his journey in this movie, and probably going forward in a magnificent way that didn't take an ounce away from him. And like you said, like, you're still able to get little nuggets here and there about the Tobey Spider-Man and Andrew Spider-Man that show you where they are at this point without like taking up too much of the movie. And like, I think that was just wonderfully crafted and done well. Like you said, fan service can be very bad sometimes, and people use fan service as a way to like diss a movie and be like, this movie sucks because it's so fan servicey, which I don't agree with at all. When it's done right, it can add to the experience, and I think this is what this movie was. Like, if anything, it's just an absolute experience, which I wasn't disappointed. When I saw it again on Sunday, my theater definitely was packed with people who were seeing it again, so it wasn't as explosive again.
Yeah, same thing. And people on the internet have been complaining about that. Fans cheering in the theaters. If you can't handle the opening night MCU crowd, don't go.
That's
Stay
the point.
home.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that shit.
Go on Saturday. It's
I said
not
they
as
should sing
rowdy.
the anthem before the movie.
The only thing I do hate is how packed the concession lines are when it's a packed theater.
No, you get the buzz going, everyone's ramped up.
I guess, but when you gotta wait 40 minutes for a popcorn and a soda,
I miss the days of getting to the movie theater at like 11:45 for the midnight showing.
Yep.
The 12:03, the 12:04 of The Dark Knight. Those were fun days. But yeah, even when we'll start at the beginning. But I just wanted to make this point. We all wondered how they would be brought in. Would it be a heroic moment? They save Peter or they save MJ. It's very small and personal. And they meet Tom's Peter Parker at a time in his life, the worst time of his life, probably his lowest point, where he's not excited about this idea of other Spider-Men being here. He's telling them to go away, go home. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I fucked up. I blame this on myself, and they're there to help him. So, but let's go back to the beginning of the movie. It starts where Far From Home left off, and I think that opening was really well done. That tracking shot of them swinging and then them going into the apartment. Happy and May breaking up, summer fling, poor Happy.
Yo, he's so funny.
He was crying.
I forgot how funny he was in these movies.
Just to comment on Happy, I think the relationship between Happy, Peter, and May is really grown in these three movies. Obviously, it started with May last movie, but, he was annoyed with Peter in Homecoming, and now he really cares about him. So once he hears the commotion going on, he's the one that zips right back in the apartment. No boundaries.
Well, no, he just doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, he doesn't want to leave.
It's the old,
but
I think your nephew's in trouble trick. Who hasn't played that before?
No, but to go on what you're saying with the relationship growing, it's like when you think about it, they've been through Civil War, Endgame, 3 movies.
Right, yeah.
It's like the relationship building is going for a lot longer than it seems like.
And yeah, like you said, like that tracking shot, bringing you right back in from the fallout from Far From Home, I thought it was pretty well done. It wraps rather quickly, though, when you think about it. Like, it's all this, but it's more of like, I guess, the implication of like what it means now that everyone knows that he's Spider-Man and how it affects the people around him. And, I thought that was like another great like little wrinkle to add for Peter's story, because it really solidifies Peter Parker as just not selfish. The first thing he thinks about is his family, is his friends, and the people that hurt him. It's not a selfish reason that he's going to Doctor Strange to fix his life. He wants to improve the lives of his friends and family who are all affected by this. And I think like little by little that builds and builds and builds on that fact of who Peter is. And even when it gets down to like the decision to not kill the villains that come from the other universe, it's all very consistent with his character. And I think the development with the Tom Holland Spider-Man is probably the best it's been since we got introduced to this version of the character.
He's maturing more and more each movie, because now from...
Yes, and he's still a kid, too. Like, when they're all laughing at Otto's name, like, I was just watching it, like, just, these are fucking kids. This is, like, what kids are doing. They act like kids. They make decisions that are kids. Even the decision between, like, Doctor Strange's reasoning, but, like, about how detrimental this could be for the multiverse if they don't send them back. And Peter looks at it as, no, I'm sending these people to their death. Just their view on the world, and at this moment of his life, I think, was just something that was done really well.
After the first 2 movies, if you sit back and look at Tom Holland's Peter Parker, you can't see him making these kind of decisions. I was never able to see him making like the adult, like his world is going to change completely decision, or even just like the whole scale of his movies is like he's not behind everything, he's just helping. And seeing the decisions that he has to make in this one, you can really see how much he's maturing.
That's a good point, because he's very much in control in this movie. Obviously not with all the things that are going around with the multiverse, but the decisions he makes and the way he's able to navigate his way through all the obstacles, it's like he's making the big decisions. It's not Iron Man, it's not Nick Fury, it's not Mysterio manipulating him.
Yeah, it's Aunt May, really, and that's the best person to guide him. That's the important lesson that he learns. And, even seeing in the beginning when he goes to school, the way people are looking at him, some are super fans, others think that he's still actually killed Mysterio like Hannibal Buress.
Dude, that was so funny.
The teachers are like, hey, he's a conspiracy theorist, don't listen to him. But it's always fun when superheroes are unmasked. They've done it, obviously, multiple times in the comics. Even bringing in Daredevil in this movie, that's one of his big runs, is when the public finds out that it's Matt Murdock and he denies it, and he just allows the court of public opinion to play out.
But you see the toll it has on Peter, the court of public opinion. It's like he's taking so much more heat now. And
Yeah, and it's not about him. First of all, he's ridiculous to think that 3 kids from the same school are going to get into MIT, but it's because they helped him as Spider-Man that they don't get accepted.
That's when we get introduced to Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. That got a nice pop from the crowd.
Yes, it did.
And we got Kingpin and Hawkeye, so very much integrating the Netflix verse, which is, they've always been loosely connected, but that was so fucking cool to see.
Yeah, it's great. It's apparently he's going to have a big role in She-Hulk moving forward. So they're going to put him in some of those Disney Plus shows. I think there's a chance maybe he pops up in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
To go on a point that we made earlier with the fan service, Marvel could have easily just rode with Charlie Cox being in this and inserted him into this movie, and I could see us not liking it. And that's a testament to them by just giving us that nugget and then pushing him off to the side. And I respect it.
He made a fucking grab.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He's a very good lawyer.
Did you guys think that he was going to be in it in the fight too, or no? Or were you guys?
No, I thought it was very much they were just going to show him quick, little teaser, and then move on from it.
Because we had no idea he was going to be in it, right? That was more of like they could put him in.
It was, yeah. I mean, people speculated on it, but to see him once you saw like his walking stick and you kind of knew who it was, that was just an awesome moment to see.
Yeah, it catches you by surprise. It's startling at first.
Yeah, when
you put it together and then they actually show him. And he looked good. He looked good in the role. Those 3 seasons of Daredevil are so much fun, and he was so great in the role. And I think a Daredevil movie would do numbers.
Yeah, with him, absolutely.
Yeah, and those interrogation scenes were funny. Even the foreshadowing with Stewie from Succession when he tells Aunt May, "You encourage this behavior. Mm-hmm. Child endangerment is a serious crime. You're supposed to be his mother." So I mean, that almost makes me choke up. Because the way that she goes out, it's a scene that shocked me the first time I saw it, but then when I knew it was coming the second time, it made me so emotional. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, it's, his life is kind of crumbling here, so he goes to Doctor Strange before he calls the MIT lady to ask them to reconsider.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think it's common knowledge that you can, just call up the college that denied you and debate. Give me a second chance.
Yeah, I got to side with Tom Holland on this one.
A no is no.
But where's his advisor?
Beats?
Yeah, they have no college advisors.
He thinks
it's just Aunt May.
He thinks he killed Mysterio.
Conflict of interest. That is true. Yeah. I can't trust him.
It's actually Hannibal Buress. He doubles as an advisor and gym teacher.
I gotta say,
that would be our high school.
I would have liked a little courtroom drama, just a little bit, like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours of courtroom. I love courtroom
with
dramas.
Charlie Cox, hell yeah.
Saul Goodman on the other side. I don't know who's winning that case. Those are 2 good lawyers.
That's the OJ case going 1 year.
Oh my god. Yeah, Doctor Strange is not the Sorcerer Supreme in this. He blipped for 5 years.
Edith doesn't fit his face.
And Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme. So, and once again, Wong cuts out. He wants nothing to do with...
The Wong memes are so fucking funny.
I gotta say, this guy needs to start sticking around, man. You want to be a Sorcerer Supreme, you gotta help out a little bit.
He's got sorcerer stuff.
He's got sorcerer stuff.
This is sorcerer stuff right here. You opened up the multiverse.
He did
Where the
tell
hell is
him
Wong?
not to.
Well, what I appreciated about the spell is that in the trailer it seemed like it was going to be a lot dumber than what it was. In this, it was kind of a relatively easy fix. Strange says, we did this spell. It backfired a bit. Certain people are coming through the multiverse. We got to send them back.
We figured it out. I can close it off.
They do kind of figure it out relatively quickly. They have a solution, but it's Spider-Man wanting to, change the fate of these villains that we know so well because we've seen them in previous movies. But I guess you guys want to go to those introductions? I mean, the first one is Doc Ock, and he comes back with a vengeance, and that was a great fight scene, man. I mean... Toby's Peter got the work from Doc Ock. He was fucking up Tom Holland. I noticed that on the second time.
Tom Holland got his ass kicked all movie.
Yeah. When he fucking hit him into that car when he was trying to save the admissions lady.
Yeah.
That was brutal. That was a great save.
When he gets the pipe and you can kind of see him through the pipe for a split second and it brings it down.
But it was great to hear him talking about where's my machine. Your fancy new suit's not going to save you. He's so confused. He's still angry. Tom Holland's confused. And then he takes over the arms, which was so funny. And that's Spider-Man as a kid, right? He's having the time of his life because he just did something cool with technology. And he's got a couple of moments like that in this movie where he trumps people just through, some wits and some tech.
Definitely. And I love how they just tease Green Goblin, too. You see him come, but then Doctor Strange pulls him out at the right before you can actually get like a really good look or any introduction to this character.
That was
surprised.
Scary, man.
I was surprised with no fight scene with him. I really was.
Oh, they were saving him.
Yeah.
They were saving him for the condominium.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it was hulking around.
That scene was...
He tells Doctor Strange
himself.
he was like a flying elf. Flying green elf. I love the MCU when they do that shit.
Yeah, all that banter when they're all together was hilarious.
No, yeah, like getting Doc Ock back and introducing, like I love what they did with that character. Well, really with all of them, but I think mostly the most attention was Doc Ock, Green Goblin, and Electro.
Right.
The other two are just kind of throw-ins.
Right, the lizard is already there.
Yeah.
When Doctor Strange brings Doc Ock and Spider-Man back to the Sanctum.
That wasn't
Oh, yeah.
Reese Ifans' voice, was it?
It didn't sound like it, but he's the only one credited. I'm pretty sure he's the only one credited. But I
Sounds
think
more
in the
British
original
in this
movie
one.
they changed the voice as well,
Okay.
where it's like altered.
Well,
Yeah, no, it's Rhys Ifans.
interesting.
He's Welsh.
Ah.
It's in Great Britain.
Okay.
So you're like, he sounds British.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
British.
I know he is.
Doesn't
He
sound
sounds
American.
too British.
Oh, okay. Like somebody was...
They ramped it up a little.
Can you be more British?
Hello.
Well, out of all the villains, he was probably the weakest, so that's probably the only note they gave him.
And the most British.
A little bit more British on your voice.
It's the only fucking Brit here.
Yeah, I could do that. Well, isn't Molina British?
Well, like,
And Holland?
But yeah,
I know.
imagine...
Oh, like in the
movie.
actual British.
yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Electro.
Most people you think are American are actually British, and that pisses me off.
Right.
We didn't win
Yeah,
a war
Toby's
for-
the only American Spider-Man, so he should be our favorites.
What was the point of winning the war? If this is gonna
Yeah, so
happen?
they could play Spider-Man and Batman. We can't play Bond. The
Superman?
fuck? We won the war.
It's that fucking queen.
to get back on track,
Please.
isn't it sad to see how good Jamie Foxx was in this movie with his like maybe 15 to 20 total minutes of screen time than he had with the 2.5 hours he had in
Because
the
they
movie?
let him be Jamie Foxx. Amazing Spider-Man 2 got Jamie Foxx, and it's like, be some weird nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were like, be charismatic guy who wants to take over the world. That's all you
Yeah.
have to be. And I really appreciated that with Goblin and Electro. It wasn't about these motivations that they have. They're anti-villains. You can see from their perspective now. They just want to fuck shit up.
Yeah, you can tell once he tasted the power, that was it. That's all he needed.
I love the slow motion shot of him grabbing the reactor and then he catches it. I thought
Yeah.
that was so badass.
Dude, it's so when he's like explaining what happened to him, he's like, he fell into a vat of electrical eels, and Sandman's like, I fell into a vat and whatever. He's like, damn, gotta watch where you fall.
That's how it be for these villains.
So we're gonna add like, so you're gonna stand there and add like I'm not butt ass naked.
You stand there and act like I'm butt ass naked. Yeah, they put him in the fireman suit. That was perfect for Electro. That was better than the blue.
Like they didn't
CGI.
really have he didn't have like too much to do. Like I think he does have his moments, but it's like, all right, 20 minutes of screen time, you're like, just beat Jamie Foxx and you're just better than the villain you were in an entire fucking movie.
It was just for him to be the wedge to push these characters over the edge of not wanting Peter Parker's help and to just drive the final fight forward. Like to give it motive.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
to make all of their motivations so clear was what was so impressive. And because, look at Sandman. At first, he's helping Peter fight against Electro.
Yeah.
And then he just wants to go home. He doesn't care about being fixed. And the Lizard is kind of the same thing. And obviously, Doc Ock, he's being controlled by this device. So once he is cured, he's so grateful to this new Peter Parker. And even those moments like with Norman and Peter trying to fix that device, it was very sweet to see Norman.
3 scientists, right? All even that. Like you saw Peter Parker's like nerdy side finally.
Right, yeah. And I think, I guess we can go to Goblin because he's next. The first time we see him, he's obviously on the bridge, but then he's in the alleyway. And the crowd went crazy with that scene, too, because it starts with the mask. And obviously we got so many of those iconic scenes from Spider-Man 1 and 2. Just Spider-Man 1 of him talking to the mask. And fans got what they always wanted. They want Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe's actual face. Don't hide it behind that mask. He's got such a great face. And I think his character was a bit more compelling in this one. And I think they tweaked him a bit, and I don't mind it, where the normal Norman was a bit more lost and scared and cowardly because of what was happening to him. It was like almost a man with split personality. And obviously they duality is a common theme of Spider-Man, and he's supposed to look at especially Doc Ock. That's the darker version of Peter Parker. But I thought everything about Norman Osborn in this movie, when he's good and when he's bad, was gripping.
Yeah, because it's so heartbreaking. Because it's like when he is Norman,
you can tell he's there.
Yeah, it's just like he's just delightful. Like even the jokes of Peter is like, if you don't mind traveling to commuting to another universe, I have a job for you, and I'm a bit of a scientist myself. Like all those lines when he is Norman are so great, and his interactions with the character, it's perfect. And I think they did a really good job of. Like, obviously, you don't have enough time, and you already have the built-in investment with other versions of Peter Parker with these characters. But to make them more personal to Peter, Tom Holland's Peter, I think they did a great job of that because it was personal. And, like, even before, like, obviously it becomes personal when you skewer your aunt, like, that's pretty fucking personal. But even before that, I think that relationship they were building, like, it adds an extra layer to that. And even with, like, Doc Ock, like, him helping him become himself. And excellent part of the movie, too, is, like, we got to see the good part of Doc Ock helping them out and being on the side of Peter, working in the lab together. So, like, those two are the most important, but they all are able to establish a good enough relationship with Tom Holland's Peter for, like, it to mean something in the end.
Yeah, and obviously he loses a lot in this movie, but he does end up saving Green Goblin. And Green Goblin's first instinct is to go to where Spider-Man is. He goes to the shelter that Aunt May is working at, and he wants help from Peter Parker. Obviously, it's not his Peter Parker, but there was a trust there right off the bat. It's kind of amazing how they were able to rip these characters from other universes, pre-MCU formula, and make them fit right into the MCU without tweaking them too much, where they, except for Jamie Foxx's Electro. But he needed the tweaking. But the good characters, the Doc Ocks and that was them. They really felt like they were pulled from those old movies, man. And now you can go back and watch them, and you with a new lens. It's never going to be the same. And like I said, they didn't have to do it. They didn't need to do it for this to work, but that's what happens, when you don't go too far. It's like, oh, we have all these characters, let's give Peter a better fight with Doc Ock than we got in Spider-Man 2.
It wasn't about that.
No, it's about, let's bring them to Happy's condominium and get a nice shot of the security camera of Spider-Man in a condo in an apartment with all these supervillains. It's so iconic because even though it's not their Peter, it's still Peter Parker with his rogues gallery in a condo. That's why the MCU gets so much credit for me at times. Those are the smaller moments that help you, that build to those bigger moments. So when the Spidey sense starts clicking and he realizes Goblin's going crazy, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
That's
the vibe changes completely.
Hold on, with that scene, did you guys think, is this a testament to Willem Dafoe's, like, acting? When he was talking to Aunt May, did you guys really think that was Osborn or was that Goblin? Because
I think they split them way more in this one.
I don't know, because the turn he makes is a very severe turn rather than the one that he makes in Spider-Man 1.
I'm pretty
Which
sure.
makes me think that he was like crazy
it.
from where he is.
I think they tweaked it.
I think they tried to make it pretty clear that he is Osborn until Doc Ock tells him, says, oh, you're gonna lose that other half, and then the other
half
Goblin comes out.
Right? Yeah, it was the perfect time for him to come out to save himself.
Dude, the Spidey sense in this movie was so fucking good.
But you said in the Revisited. Yeah, the Spidey sense was used so well. The way that he was sensing shit way before it was happening.
I thought he was sensing the cops coming, and that was going to fuck everything up.
When you said in the Spider-Man 1 Revisited, do you think Norman really wanted to kill Aunt May during Thanksgiving? It was way more gray in that first movie. It was a combination of the two. It was like a mixture.
And that one, it was just a lure. And he used that as a lure. This one, I think he did want to kill Aunt May.
No, but what I'm saying is that, to your point of it happens too quickly, it's too quick of a switch. I think in the first movie it was, like even in the end when he's telling Peter at the end of Spider-Man 1, I'm being controlled, help me, and he's trying to fucking kill him with the glider. Yeah. I think in this one there truly were two Normans. They really did split them in half. So when he comes to at the end,
glass. He breaks his mask, so I guess that was him.
Right, but even at the end when he says, what have I done? He's regretful for what he's done. I don't think you get that from Spider-Man 1, Norman.
No, you don't, because he dies. He gets killed by his own glider.
Yeah, and I think he's all there. I think at that point he's just lost to it. And in this one, obviously, they are able to save him. But that's I guess that's where all the complications start. When Aunt May tells him, no, this is your problem. It's your problem because you're Spider-Man, and that's what Spider-Man does.
Even their logic of when they all came back, I know we were all wondering how they're going to pull him away and what they're going to be thinking, because Doc Ock ends on a good note, Sandman ends on a good note, Willem Dafoe's dead. They all get pulled right before their demise happens or the end of the movie happens. Like Doc Ock says, I'm holding. I have Peter Parker by his throat, and then all of a sudden I'm here.
Yeah,
Electro says
putting
I'm
it
about
together.
to win. I'm whipping his ass. I'm about to win, and now I'm here.
Right.
So I thought that was a good niche on how they poured it in.
Yeah, we were wondering that. That was a good answer.
Yeah, and obviously, like the big fight, we didn't get it on the bridge, but we got it in a condominium. I mean, everyone's talked about it already, but like when him laughing when he's getting punched in the face and proceeding to fucking
Bro, his face, dude.
pile drive this child through 10 floors of the condo is so like. Some of these fight scenes are fucking brutal, and he's just getting his ass kicked in them.
Bro, does Goblin match up with Joker? Or is Joker on a different level?
I said on the Spider-Man 1 Revisited, this is just gravy. This made it even better. I only needed one movie I had him at number 2, so he solidified number 2 for me after this. And he doesn't have as much screen time, but it's the way they use that time. That switch was so perfectly executed. Even Doc Ock and Green Goblin walking behind Peter as he's putting it together. It's such a great shot. And like Aaron said, he beats the living snot out of him. He said, we're not doing that homecoming far from home bullshit. You got to throw down with me. You got to throw punches here, bro. It ain't just your webs anymore. And Willem Dafoe made the point, it's been a viral video on Twitter, that he wanted to do those stunts, and it shows. You could tell that's him there hulking around. Mm-hmm. And you kind of forget that Goblin's got the super strength, you know?
I was just going to say that. I know. You forget that
he's a super soldier.
He's not just a voice or like a psycho. Like, he's enhanced.
Right.
And I loved his suit. I went with the old school suit with the face and the sweatshirt and like the purple suit.
So good.
Yeah, it was a sick sight.
Dude, I thought at first Aunt May was trying to hide. when she creeped into that back room, it's like, oh, she's cutting out.
I wouldn't blame her.
Oh, yeah, well, we may as well talk about that, right? She comes downstairs, and you could make the case that she saves Peter there, because I think Goblin was ready to kill him.
Yeah.
And she distracts him. She's standing there like she's ready to fight, and once that glider comes up, you're brought right back to Spider-Man 1. You're thinking, oh, it's not going to be...
Bro, in my head,
it's not
I'm
the
like,
end of the movie. It's not going to end well here.
For real, in my head, I'm like, there's no way they're about to ice May right now. Like, there's no way they can do that.
They didn't just fucking ice her.
No.
Threw her in the fucking Arctic, man.
Bobbed her.
Yeah. Dude, like...
The way she got hit the second time I saw it, the first time I was like, oh, she'll walk that off.
It's sad that it had to happen to him, but in the back of your mind, it's like, this is the push that Peter needed. Like, we didn't get these in 1 and 2. Like, this is how deep this movie is getting. Like, this is the push that Peter needed and the motive to be Spider-Man again.
Right, because it's interesting, because they obviously skipped most of the origin with the introduction of this character into the MCU. And, like, I guess you kind of just assumed that was Uncle Ben to him, but it seems like Uncle Ben, like, he probably just died. Maybe he went to go get cigarettes, never came back. Like, who knows what happened to him? It seems as if he didn't have that emotional charge at the other two to really be Spider-Man. Because for him in this universe, Aunt May has that push.
He thought it was Tony Stark too, but
guess he didn't really love them.
Well, I think it's. I don't mind that he's had a lot of good mentors because he does vaguely mention, and they've removed Uncle Ben at this point, so it doesn't even matter. But he tells Tony Stark in Civil War, when the bad things happen and you don't do anything about it, then it's on you. So that's referencing Uncle Ben a bit, but I think that because his world has gotten so big and all these interactions with all these superheroes, you know, Toby and Andrew, they're like, you have heroes in this world? That he's lost perspective of what it does mean to be Spider-Man. So when she says, you know, she makes sure to tell him we still did the right thing, you know, and he really needed that because he obviously that's a death that he puts on himself at first. But those final moments between them, Marissa Tomei delivering the responsibility speech, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It wasn't even cliche too, where you would think that it was forced. It felt so real coming from her.
Yeah, in that moment, definitely. I think that's why this movie is so good, because they earned so many of these moments that we knew were coming or that we've seen before. But in that moment, because of what they were trying to do, was so difficult and it was such a risk for her to say, no, that's part of the job. That's who it is. That's who you're supposed to be. I don't know how she let out a tear after she died.
It was forming. It was there.
I guess it's a movie, right?
You know they say, like, you shit your pants when you die?
It's just
involuntary.
a tear,
Yeah, she just had...
Aunt May is just so hot, she just tears.
No, she definitely pooped, but...
Well, I would also think...
They just don't tell you about the other bodily fluids that also excrete.
Well, I would think getting smashed with a glider would make her cry, too. I thought she was going to live, too.
When she stumbled the second time, I was like, oh, no.
See ya.
How could you?
Fucking hit that snaky leg.
Why were the cops letting loose, man? The cops were firing. Are you kidding me?
They were blaming everything on him. He says during that first confrontation with Electro, let me clean this up so I don't get blamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were ready to
Can we relax?
blow this man to bits. Happy's like, run! And then we get, the big reveal with...
Ned's a wizard.
Ned's a wizard, yeah.
I love that.
And Ned's grandma's house.
Even that scene, even that was grounded too, and it wasn't like you said earlier. We said it already. We knew it was happening, and it still surprised us.
Yeah, no, it did. And
it wasn't forced.
You're not thinking about it because of what just happened. It's such an emotional moment, an epic fight scene. So it's a perfect time to bring them in. And right off the bat, like I mentioned, their whole mission, Toby says, my spidey sense was telling me I need to find Peter of this universe because he needs my help. So they're not there to resolve any of the issues they had in their own movies. It's all about Tom Holland's Peter, but it's still awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean...
them shooting webs at each other,
Andrew
flipping
Garfield's
over.
So fucking good. I love him as the character. Like, even
you said he was your favorite Spider-Man.
Even in those movies, and here I think he's just a standout. He's just perfect. And, like... they all bring something different to the table, but like you said with the villains, they were still very much the characters they were in their own films. And yeah, sure, the Amazing Spider-Mans weren't that great, but Andrew as a character, I thought was always like fantastic, and he jumps right back into it here, like just hanging on the wall, like getting the cobweb. It's perfect. And then Toby comes in a little bit more serious, a little bit more, I wouldn't say grizzled, but like he's
wise.
Yes. He's,
Somebody made a point that they had a big brother, middle brother, baby brother dynamic.
Andrew Garfield had
big middle brother energy.
syndrome.
Stopping them. I love you guys.
He's so sad.
I gotta say,
he's a lonely motherfucker,
dude.
Man.
When he's like self-doubting himself, as funny as it was, he's just fucking. It's like, you guys are so cool and everything. I feel like a Russian guy in a rhino suit, like.
Toby tells him he's amazing 3 times.
Thank you, I needed that. He's so good. When he catches, like, both times I saw this, like, it broke my heart into a million pieces. When he catches MJ and he gives her that look and she's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, are you okay?
Dude, the emotion
like,
Garfield,
oh, no.
The emotion Garfield brings to this character is like, not like, it's better than both of Toby and better than Toby and Tom Holland, but it's not to take away from what they bring either. He's just really good, and it just seemed like he had an extra spark during this movie.
I think it's clear.
He didn't get a good rap, man. It sucks that he didn't get a good Spider-Man movie. He deserves it.
He definitely does. It's clear that he loves playing the character more than the other two, and that's not to say they don't love it.
Yeah.
With Toby, I mean, it's up in the air, but I think Tom Holland's been the best Spider-Man, but when you see Garfield, I love when actors do that. With Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man, embracing the character. Hugh Jackman with Wolverine, caring about the history of the character. How can we flesh this out and give the audiences the best version of this character? That's why it does suck with Garfield that those movies were so bad, because it must have killed him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he loves the character so much.
He was so happy to be there, man.
So for him to give his all in a movie like this, where he's not the main Spider-Man, but many people would say out of the three, he probably stood out the most. It's awesome, and it's such a testament to his commitment to acting in any movie that he makes, because he makes all types of movies and he's great in all of them.
Well, like, I think he was like good and like definitely a standout just because of like the fact that his movie sucked and everything. But when you go toe to toe, like Tom Holland in this movie alone, like if you compare the two performances, he was just phenomenal. Go back to the Aunt May scene.
Right.
Anytime he needed to convey any type of emotion, it was just heartbreaking.
Scene on
and
the
I
roof.
think this is easily the best performance of his career. And
yes, yeah, without a doubt.
Even the performance with him and Zendaya, the connection that they have,
great chemistry,
is like none other.
Great comedic timing, plays the kid aspect well. But when he needs to get serious, he gets fucking serious.
And I love Ned. I think Ned is such great comic relief. He's never annoying. He's
that
cute.
Three is a big 3. They're good.
They're such a big 3. And Ned is such a great nerd. He's just such a great nerd friend. And he might be magic.
But they come in, and it's funny, his grandma couldn't care less that there's 2 Spider-Men. No, well, she was giving the Toby the A.
Yeah, she was looking at Toby like that. Well, a guy dressed like Spider-Man in New York, that's what I always love about these movies. When he's walking around, nobody cares. Mm-hmm. If he's swinging, oh, it's Spider-Man. But a guy walking around in a Spider-Man suit, you go to anywhere in New York, you'll see a guy walking around in a Spider-Man suit. So she was probably just like, oh, they probably came from
Square,
Comic-Con.
like 23 hours of the day.
Right, yeah.
I honestly wouldn't mind Marvel taking Garfield and making like 2 movies with him again. Just making it, have like its own thing.
Because then you're giving it back to Sony, and that didn't work well.
Well, the rumors are going around that he's going to be Spider-Man in like the Venom and Morbius universe.
I'll take that.
So he won't get his own movie, but he's there as Spider-Man.
I'll take that. Just give me Garfield back in the Spidey suit.
And
That's
everyone keeps saying audiences are going to get confused. Yeah, right.
I'm already confused.
Fuck 'em.
I think I don't know. It's difficult, but I think this was just, if this is it, then like I think it was just a perfect little cap. And even with Toby, like him coming in, crowd going crazy, he's still
he looks so innocent still.
Yeah.
Oh shucks. Can I come in through this portal?
And before we get to like one of my favorite scenes, that scene on the top of the school building when they both come down and try to console Peter and tell him that maybe like Aunt May didn't die for nothing, and they finish the responsibility line. They talk about Gwen. They talk about Uncle Ben, what it is to be Spider-Man. Their problems in the past, dealing with loss and dealing with revenge and how it consumed them, and teaching those lessons to Peter to make sure he doesn't make the same mistake, I thought was very well done.
Toby was such a good big brother in that scene when he tells him that Aunt May probably didn't die for anything, for nothing. It was the perfect thing, just the right thing to say. And obviously they're the same person, so you would think that that's the best person to confide in or to look for.
They have Aunt May. They know what that would be like for them.
Yeah.
They experienced it with Uncle Ben.
That's why it could have been so goofy and so silly, the interactions between them. But for that to be the first scene, it's amazing.
Yeah, an emotional scene.
Not an action scene.
Not an action scene.
A scene that they all kind of need because they're all lost a bit. They're literally lost, Garfield and Toby, and Tom in his own head. So yeah, it was a great emotional first introduction for all these characters.
It could have easily been as easy as Peter's watching TV and he sees Spider-Man fighting Green Goblin.
Yeah, it could have been something stupid.
Yeah,
right. But that one shot when they're not in the suits yet and they're hanging off the side of the building, Tom looks up. He's like, "What the fuck?
Yeah, the hell are you guys doing?"
Yeah,
here?
it was creepy. It was cool. It's
I love the comedic timing. The scene when she says, "So you're gonna walk out there like a pastor," and he pulls down through his suit.
He calls him a fun youth pastor. Or something like that.
Little stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Toby gives him that nice look.
And I think my favorite of all of them together. And obviously the fight's cool, but when they're all in the lab,
yeah, the fight's alright,
whipping up cures and everything, all three Peters being this genius Peter Parker, their interaction together in that scene, I thought was just a blast. Even like you said, Ned having a great scene in that sequence also, when he tells him about it, how their best friend tried to kill him.
Poor Ned.
Yeah. So seeing them all three, because that's the thing that people always talk about. It's they didn't really show the genius of Peter Parker. Them three in the lab, coats on, whipping up some cures. Awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of the relationships Peter has with these other superheroes, they look down on him. Obviously he's a kid, so even Doctor Strange is frustrated by some of the decisions in this movie, going back between call me Steven or call me Sir. But when he's with these other two Spider-Men, they're a team.
What?
And they're looking at him to also help them solve this problem. It's not so much, you're a kid, we're going to bring you along.
He even says, yeah, all right, you're going to say it. You can say it. You started it.
But I had another point too.
You can say that.
What does he say, though? I'm curious.
When he says, I forget that you're just a kid.
Yeah, when he saved half yeah. But I was going to say,
the universe.
Did any of you guys think when Doctor Strange, when he's about to do the spell, and he's like, thank you, Mr. Strange, or whatever, and he's like, call me Steven. Did any of you he said it in a weird way, where I thought oh, fuck, is this evil Doctor Strange or something? So it's very sinister, and the way the shadow was on him, I was like, oh, fuck. But it didn't happen. But I just noticed something.
What if Doctor Strange?
Well, we'll talk about that later. But when he delivered that line and looked at him, he was like, please, call me Steven. He had a weird smile on his face. I'm like, is this Mephisto? But
well, we didn't even talk about that fight between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
That was epic.
Like I said, beats him with math.
So is it more of Spider-Man got the better of him? I still don't think Spider-Man could beat Doctor Strange.
I don't think Doctor Strange is actively trying to kill Peter.
Yeah.
No, he's trying to take even when he pushes him out and he still can't take the box because his body still has the reflexes. It's you shouldn't be able to do this. But Spider-Man's no joke.
No, he's not.
I know Doctor Strange, he could have probably turned him into a frog or something, but Spider-Man's no joke, man.
He doesn't have a spell to melt the snow.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. But I guess if it's...
But yeah, Doctor Strange,
magic snow.
That's the only movie I would probably ever consider going to see 3D again, is Doctor Strange 2. Because, those sequences, that they are able to create with his magic are so fucking cool. I don't know what's going on half the time, but they just are.
Yeah, with that Mirrorverse, this shit's
dude,
nuts.
it's just so.
What was the budget for this movie? Do we know?
A lot.
Yeah. Most of it going to Toby.
200
I think it made 253 so far, right?
worldwide. It's at
Like
637.
Dude, it made a ton of money.
Yeah, second biggest opening weekend ever. And Endgame's lucky that
It's gonna get 1.5.
During normal times.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What'd you say?
It's gonna get 1.5.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. It's
Such a
headed towards there.
rewatchability factor too. I want to see it again already.
Can you guys take a second and just think that we're getting 2 multiverse movies from the MCU?
I know.
Doctor Strange
yeah.
is next.
But it's cool. I love this common thread throughout these Phase 4 projects, the tackling the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
But that was cool. Like he defeats, like in the way they made sense for Doctor Strange to be indisposed for like the rest of the movie. Like I like
you could be wondering like where is he?
Peter? Focus on Peter, and they did. And
he comes back right when you need him.
Yeah. So like them whipping up all the cures and then going out to
Let's cure some ass.
cure that ass.
They were so good, man. Yeah, that's where we get all the riffing on the Statue of Liberty, right?
So good, yo.
Between just the 3 Spider-Men. It begins with
chowing around. Oh, it's so
him trying to crack his back. The first time I couldn't even hear if it cracked because everyone was laughing.
Yeah.
But the second time I heard it, I was like, oh, nice.
I didn't hear
Even
the crack.
then, like,
Yeah.
Real quick, like them like being amazed about Toby's ability to shoot web directly from his arms.
He thinks they're teasing him.
Yeah.
What are you, teasing me? It's such a Toby thing to think that they're teasing him about.
We talked about that too going into the movie. That's just such a cool for them to like acknowledge that and interact about it and riff off of it. I think you said on the way home that like you can just watch 2 hours of them just on that rooftop.
I didn't want it to stop, man. And like I said, that dynamic of Tom being the baby brother when he's like, hey, what villains have you guys fought in your universes?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a cute question for him to ask, and Toby saying he fought Venom and Garfield. The way that they those meta jokes of Garfield being the lesser of the not the lesser, but that his movies weren't as well received. Him reluctantly saying, "Okay, Peter 3." His delivery there was perfect. The man can do anything, comedy, drama. It's incredible. But yeah, the riffing and the back and forths were so great.
I think like even to like
it could have felt so forced and corny too, and it just didn't.
even Electro was like, oh, I like the way I look in this universe. Yeah. Fuck you, Mark Webb.
I know, right? It's like, yeah, I'm hot. I'm Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But yeah, I think like the coolest like big like now clap moment was when they're all swinging and they do the Spider-Man landing on the fucking shield. Like
that was such a great 3-on-3. When they swing and land, they gave Garfield a stupid pose, but I like that they let Toby perch because he's always perching in those first movies. And then it's them against Sandman, Electro, and Lizard. And we
Tom
saw
always
the
has
kick.
his leg out.
Say it again.
I said, and Tom always has his leg out.
Yeah, Tom's always doing this, and Garfield was just like, they're like, there's only 2 Spider-Man poses. Sorry, Peter 3. And at first, they're struggling to work together, and some of those action scenes, man, when they put it together, when they game plan. And that's I want to bring back that point where Toby is looking at Tom to really call the shots here. It's like an Iron Man Cap moment when he's telling him about the Avengers. It's like, you were in the Avengers. Yeah. What's that? And eventually Toby's like, how is this helping? But when they all swing off of each other, when they really start get going, where they're focusing on one target, ooh.
I could have used more fights with them together. That sucks. That was only one fight, though.
Yeah, but that's why it's perfect.
I know.
We're not gonna blow it. It's gonna be an iconic moment right at the end.
It wasn't long enough,
start going to work, man.
It wasn't long enough.
And then Doc Ock comes in and he's like, let me get a piece of this action.
This man always wants to scrap. He's always trying to scrap someone.
He really is. Even as a good guy, man. He remembered how to use those arms.
I thought it was pretty cool when he said, nanotech, huh?
That he knew it right away.
I thought they were teasing us for something like little Chekhov's gun snare when they kept going to the gadget that was showing that his arms were under Peter's control.
I thought they were going to do something with
Me
that
too. That eventually it was going to break.
Yeah.
Stop working.
I was ready for all hell to break loose in the condominium. I mean, before Goblin went. But before Goblin went crazy. Before he went crazy.
Right.
I thought shit was going to get nuts there. Well, I thought the cops were going to show up, and then they were going to lose trust in Peter, and then that's when it was going to get nuts.
Well, Jay Jonah, too, we haven't really touched upon him. Him being the Alex Jones of this universe.
Oh, my God, it was so funny.
Selling
Him being in his
supplements.
basement or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's funny, like, first show's in the basement, then he has a full fucking studio.
Well, when he calls in the show at the end to lure the villains, and he mentions, he's like, I don't know how many people are watching. And Jonah Jameson's like, millions of people are watching, trust me.
Then he goes...
I wanted a
he
moment
says something
between
when they go to the
Toby
statue.
and Jameson, like just a look. Like,
Yeah.
what?
That
I
would
guess
be
you're
funny.
in this universe. Jameson's personality is so strong that he's just always J.K.
Yeah, he's
Simmons
there. Yeah,
in the
100%.
multiverse.
You don't
Sometimes
question
he's Stephen A.
You don't question it. He's there.
Right.
Just be happy you have him.
Yeah, but that fight at the end, like I said, Doc Ock comes and, Garfield has a moment with Electro. Garfield with the woos while swinging. He loves doing that. Woo!
Just having a blast out there. Yeah, Jamie Foxx, or Electro, alluding to a black Spider-Man.
That got cheers in every crowd I've seen it in.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get Miles Morales. He deserves it, man.
Well, I always used to make that point to kids at the comic shop when they would say, "Oh, don't change the race of Spider-Man." I'm like, dude, he's a kid from Queens. It's not so far-fetched to imagine a black Spider-Man.
He says it. He's like, I thought you would be black.
Yeah, if I'm going to do some deductions here, yeah, you help out the poor, you wear a mask. I thought you were
from
black.
Queens.
And Garfield's sorry was so genuine. Like, oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, and then the moment obviously between Peter and Doc Ock was great too. How are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to do better. Mm-hmm. Fits right in, man. And then Goblin comes.
Yeah, that interaction with Peter and Doc Ock was straight from Spider-Man 2. At
Right,
the
it's
end.
like they
right at
picked
the
off.
end.
Yeah, it's like they picked right off. They picked up right where they left
Doctor
off.
Strange is always so preoccupied with, an Endgame trying to stop the dam from flooding the fight.
Yeah, he can
this
never
one
fight,
trying
right?
for the spell. He's just always preoccupied with something else.
Bro, he's always getting worked. What's the deal with Strange?
He held his own against Thanos.
Someone said this is like the Patriots going from Brady to Mac Jones. It's like he's okay, but
Yeah.
it's like Iron Man to Strange is Brady to Mac Jones. And that
He's serviceable.
Yeah, he's serviceable. He's a game manager, but he's got some things to clean up here. But I think him as the character, I mean, that's like one of the greatest castings
Unmatched,
ever.
man. He's so good.
That's a ripped from the comics type of casting. And I think now obviously when they make you the main character of the movie, you become a bit more smarter. Mm-hmm. You're
more
not
mature, more wise.
Yeah. So whenever you're a co-star in a superhero movie, they're gonna nerf you a bit.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be as strong.
That when they're going toe to toe on Cap's shield, and he's just unleashing all of his anger and frustrations out on Green Goblin, that was just so well done.
I mean, he almost blew up Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah,
He's too smooth with those fucking bombs, dude. Those pumpkin bombs.
Oh, he is.
You never know when
He's
one of
slick
those
with
shits is gonna just go off.
Who saw it first? Was it Zendaya? She saw the bomb?
No, I think it was Tom.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He's like, oh shit.
I've been there. Been there, man.
Everyone's caught one of those.
And
yeah,
even
that was brutal.
And I think obviously Garfield stood out with the lines he was given, and I think he really had more to do in terms of that aspect of it. But with Toby, like you said, even things just trying to do better and little moments like that. And I think the best moment is him catching the glider before Tom Holland sticks it into Green Goblin and just looking at him, not saying a word, and just conveying everything you need just from that one look. Kind of being that big brother, that mentor character, saying, this isn't you, this isn't us. You don't have to go down the same path as us that we did, and allowing Tom Holland to kind of collect himself and realize that he's making a mistake it was
very appropriate. They all defeat Goblin. They all had something to do in that final moment. Obviously, Toby, it's the most important because he effectively saves this Peter from becoming just a rageful and maybe even bloodthirsty type of vigilante. And then Garfield throws him the serum. But it goes to, Goblin's great in Spider-Man 1. I wanted him dead in this movie. I hated him. When he came in at the end, I'd totally forgotten that he was coming. I was like, this motherfucker. What is he going to do? Who is he going to kill? I don't know if it's maybe...
What's he going to do to fuck this
even
movie up?
just the...
Right.
If you compare it just to Amazing Spider-Man 2, where it's kind of like the same thing, where they beat Electro and then fucking Dane the Hans Goblin comes with that fucking stupid laugh to this, where they defeat Electro, but now it's Willem Dafoe's Goblin with that laugh. It's just such a night and day difference.
Yeah, but like what you said, when Goblin came, you just knew, all right, what's the sacrifice? Who's dying? And then I thought we got it, man. I thought it was Toby. And I'm so happy they didn't kill him.
So happy. That would have ruined the movie for me if they would have killed him off, because you didn't need to do it.
No.
I'm glad they didn't.
Tom Holland came out before the movie and said, "This Tom Holland's Peter Parker makes a sacrifice that you wouldn't think he would do, or makes a decision that you would never see coming." And I thought killing Goblin was going to be that decision.
He looked
basically killed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he did. Yeah. But the look in his eyes when he was about to kill Goblin, that was so
beaten to a pulp. Dude.
Yeah, he's weak. He's beaten up, but he's picks up that shield. He's stumbling over to him, and Toby saves him. But yeah, no, he makes that choice. He tells Doctor Strange, "Hey, just make everyone forget about Peter Parker,"
which is a tough choice because
it left me feeling empty in the end. I felt so bad for him. He's got no one. He's got nothing. All the other Spider-Men, at least people knew who they were. He's just like a nobody.
But this could be his still.
But this could be his bliss, though. Like he's happy.
Well, they knew Peter at least. Yeah, I guess.
Mary Jane's not going to have the struggle anymore.
Well, it's what all the Spider Babies wanted, right?
Yeah, I guess.
All the complaining that we got from Far From Home. He's Iron Man Jr. Now it's like...
Well, I mean, I guess they could have gradually gave him loss. This man lost everything in one day.
We're going to speed up this process, and he is now as down bad as any Spider-Man.
No, that's fucking hard. That was a heartbreaking ending, because it's like, he really is. Like, Peter Parker is dead. And it's like...
But we got so much stuff out of it that we want. We got the new suit.
But it resets
the homegrown suit.
Like...
It's so sad, too, with Zendaya.
It completes the trilogy, but then starts a new trilogy of basically being not the real Spider-Man, but it
was a hard reset on his character.
Typical, fucking Spider-Man, where Peter Parker, for the most part, is invisible to most people anyway. And he's kind of back to that.
Yeah, it's cool.
No tech,
it's clever.
Allies, and people still remember Spider-Man. I really don't know how that works, but I'm not going to think about it.
Yeah, don't think about it.
No, people don't know Peter Parker. They know Spider-Man.
They know Spider-Man. But
even when you look at those other movies, when his life was miserable, it was when he went off to college. Even in in Spider-Man 1, he's got a nice apartment with Harry. I mean, he's not struggling that bad.
Well, Harry's paying for it.
Probably. Yeah, exactly. Oh, so
dude, I wish we got the right guy.
Goblin Jr. in Spider-Man 1. In Spider-Man 2, he struggles, and then Garfield Spider-Man struggles when they go to college. So it makes sense. I think it's the trajectory here.
He still isn't home in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that is true, actually. Good for him. I'm glad times changed by then. But I like this Spider-Man now because, okay, he's going to be on his own. He's going to be street level. But these street villains, they need to look out, because this motherfucker thought Thanos. He fought Green Goblin.
Yeah,
he was tutored by Iron Man. He was tutored by Mysterio, kind of.
He's got fights under his belt.
Yeah, dude, he's got some war wounds here, so he ain't going in as a fresh puppy. He's going in as a fucking pit.
So who's coming up now?
Craven.
What villains are coming up now in the next 3? Let's see. Who can come up?
They tease Venom.
Besides Venom.
I think Venom would be the way to go for the first movie. You get Chalamet as Harry Osborn, college student.
There's no Oscorp, though.
No Oscorp, but he's still Osborn. So they can do Eisenberg, Lex Luthor. I'm starting a tech company, and I want you to come along, Peter, and now I'm Venom. Because they've done that before where Harry becomes Venom. They're teasing that in the video game as well. And a lot of references to the video game, actually. Visual references to that PS4 Spider-Man story, which is great.
Can you include Daredevil in the next ones and bring his rogue gallery into Spider-Man 2, though?
Well, that's the thing. Kingpin is Spidey's villain, and they took that from Spider-Man, gave it to Daredevil. Now gave him to Hawkeye. And Hawkeye takes place after No Way Home. So Spidey's out and about.
Yeah.
So much stuff you can do. So much stuff you can do.
We'll see.
Is Doctor Strange's movie going to be tied to this? I'm trying to think when that's happening.
Yeah. Oh, that probably happens right after.
Yeah. Imagine Spider-Man's in that.
But what does Doctor Strange remember?
Nothing. There's no Peter, right?
But he says in the trailer that
But no, they remember all the events. He remembers what happened at the Statue of Liberty.
Right,
he just remembers it as Spider-Man.
Right, so he's gonna be like, Spider-Man came to me and asked me to open the multiverse.
Yeah, they got some splaining to do.
Yeah, we're...
And when the villains go back, they go back to the time before they die. But if they go back to their universes and don't die, then they never have that interaction with their Peters. So does that make the Peters different? Do they change the Peters?
That's why I said after the movie we could have used 10 minutes with each Spider-Man back in the universe with their guys.
But once you answer it just you set up 10 more answers you have to give.
I guess.
So when you don't answer some of those plot holes, it almost makes it better.
But
you did a major thing to these guys though. You got to answer something.
Okay. Well, we got a good movie at the end of the day, right? We got a good movie.
True.
Or maybe it makes the Spider-Man even more fucked up. It's like, Peter, I'm back. I'm not sick. And like, shut up.
I'm not trusting
I swear
you.
I'm fine.
It's like when the people who got snapped return. It's like Electro comes back, but he's like floating in the air, but he doesn't have power, so he just drops to his death. And he can't save Electro, and that becomes his Gwen Stacy.
I think Sandman got the worst. He lost all of his powers, and he was never really bad.
But who wants to be a Sandman?
I'd like it.
Literally useless. You make a mess everywhere you go.
Yeah, now you're not disgusting.
Oh my god! No, that when Sandman was in the apartment, bro, and he's getting sand everywhere. I love that apartment scene. That apartment scene is hilarious.
That's my favorite shot of the movie.
Happy calling the phone. It's like, I see you bring all these guys to my apartment.
Happy with the Islanders jersey framed.
Hell yeah, what a legend.
Happy would be an Islanders fan. I could see that. He's got Long Island energy. Long Island made it in the big city.
We have a party in my apartment right now.
I think it was pretty...
man with tentacles.
Dude, I thought they were fucking
Mud
with him.
guy.
When he goes into the diner and they don't recognize him, I'm like, oh, they got to be fucking with them. Because I didn't want to believe it.
That was sad, man. I hate scenes like that. Fucking, Zendaya is such a big star. So
they're gonna figure it out eventually.
Bringing her back so soon, though, would be...
maybe like
He's
maybe
got
might
other love
take
interests.
a movie of Peter just doing like Spider-Man things.
Anya Taylor-Joy as Gwen Stacy?
Maybe.
That's not bad.
Who's Chalamet fucking? You should cast her. So
Why you gotta say that?
Oh, right,
So
right.
aggressive.
what do you mean?
What you said, I was so aggressive. I'm having a girl, man.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'm saying Chalamet took Zendaya and
Who isn't
Dune.
he
Now
fucking at
Tom
this
Holland's
point?
got to repay the favor. These Hollywood people.
Pigs.
No, they're probably
Well, I guess 2 kids got into MIT. Still bullshit, but maybe Flash.
3.
Flash got screwed over maybe at the end.
So how?
Do you guys
Strange.
like MCU Flash?
I don't mind.
He's
it.
funny.
But the Spider-Man fans
gets
are out of
annoying.
control, dude. You know what tweet I saw yesterday?
What?
MCU Flash Thompson lacks depth.
Oh my god.
What was?
He had 0 depth in either of the other movies.
He could arguably not be in the movie and nothing
He has
changes.
more depth than any of those combined.
I can't take
Flex,
Spider-Man fans.
That had to be a
dude.
joke. That had
No,
to be a
no,
joke.
it was dead serious, dude. Because it was like a whole thread, and then people agreeing with him.
Oh my god.
What depth does
What do you
Joe
want from
Manganiello
him?
or the Amazing Spider-Man?
You can't
Flash
argue.
have?
You can't argue with people like that.
Because there is
man.
no fucking argument.
But that's like saying it's like Tom Holland Spider-Man's too tall. It's just like
What?
like where do I go from here? I don't know what to say to you. Because if you're coming from that angle, like you're just so lost. You just want to hate on the franchise. It's not about the MCU or it's not about Flash. It's just about the MCU as a whole.
And like if
People
you're
need to
going
stop
down
the whole-
down the fucking totem pole to pick a criticism and destroy
Yeah.
a character,
Of a
then
side character?
you're fucking reaching.
And
not
also,
even a side character.
he's got the best side characters of all the Spider-Men. They actually gave him high school friends, kind of. They don't need to have this. They're all kids. I appreciated that about these characters as well. Even the relationships between Zendaya, Tom, and Ned. It was very sweet. It never got too serious or like they were adults or anything. It was very innocent, you know?
I can't wait to see like
Well, that's where this movie is going to take. The next movie this movie helped for the next movie to take a better step with these
I can't
characters.
wait
They're
for
going to
this
be
next
so
movie,
much,
dude.
They're going to be so much more
can't wait for
mature.
Doctor Strange, man. Seeing that trailer, like I wasn't expecting that. Like obviously to have a trailer at the end, but I guess it's kind of smart because you can't. I guess you can, but it definitely helps having the context of the movie you just watched to fully understand that trailer. Need Wanda in my life again.
So do I.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not worried about that whole calamity in Westview. when you brainwashed and kidnapped all those people.
Totally reasonable
what do
thing
you do
to
for your job?
Totally reasonable thing to do.
What do you do, guy? He's typical, like, I know you're bad, but there's something worse, so I'm going to give you a pass for this.
She did nothing wrong.
She did nothing wrong, that's true.
Nah, she was hurt.
That was fun. That was Sam Raimi coming back to direct his first movie in a couple of years now. More than 5 years, I'm pretty sure. So I'm excited about that. We got our first look at Mordo. Obviously, they teased him as a villain at the end of Doctor Strange 1, and you have to wonder, what type of role is he going to play? Is it a villainous role, or is there somebody... Well, it looks like there is actually somebody even more evil, Doctor Strange. So
Kind of like the What If one.
He looked like What If Doctor Strange, man.
Yeah.
And Benedict Cumberbatch did
Well,
such a good job with the voiceover.
They showed that little clip of Rachel McAdams at a wedding.
Right.
So maybe there was some... Maybe they do take that plot line. It would be weird, though.
I wouldn't hate it.
I wonder if they'll reference what happened in What If and build off of that. Because he does help them save the world. Or the multiverse. He was actually pretty important, Doctor Strange. By the time we got to the end of What If, I'm like, they should have saved this for like an Avengers movie. This should have been the Phase 4 like culmination.
Yeah, and I know
so
like
good.
we
Venom.
Yeah, we touched upon it. I am so fucking happy that Tom Hardy's Venom is not in the MCU.
Yeah, that was probably best case scenario, right, for you guys?
Somebody tweeted the Get Out, Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah.
It was like Feige to Tom Hardy's Venom. Yeah, it was the perfect trade,
It's like,
right?
we want your character, but get the fuck out of here.
But not you, not you.
You can take him, you can have Garfield, you can have fucking Toby. Just gotta get out of here.
Now Danny Rojas is going to be Venom. It's the first person it links with. He becomes a great soccer player.
Wow.
Soccer man.
You see that on Twitter too?
Football man. No. Wait, I should tweet that, right?
Yeah.
They tied in the Ted Lasso
Can
universe.
we tweet yet about this?
I think all of our followers have seen it at this point.
Okay.
First response, I'm unfollowing you, motherfucker.
The audacity.
If you want to tweet something about Andrew Garfield, then people will be like, oh, two together, obviously.
The photoshopped fake screenshots of like Walter White next to Spider-Man.
The
and
Goku
Oh
one
my
made me
God.
piss myself.
Yo, this movie crazy.
Yeah, but I'm glad. I guess the symbiote will find the MCU version of Eddie Brock, or what will happen there? I don't know.
Well, no, I think he'll link with Spider-Man first. I think they'll do the whole
I'd like that.
to take some Spider-Man powers here. And they'll just change that, even though they didn't do that in the original Venom. It doesn't matter, right?
It's here.
The bigger
But
questions
why
are...
even I think they you could tell they did it, and then they were like, whoa, let's backtrack here. Because, obviously, you can just have the symbiote fall from fucking space. It doesn't have to be Venom coming into the universe. But I feel like they did that, they teased it, and then they're like, yeah, maybe we realize that Tom Hardy's Venom fucking stinks, and these movies stink, so let's just send him back over
Think that was fan service?
Because obviously...
No, I think that's...
Getting rid of Tom
I
Hardy?
think it was fan service. Not even getting rid of him, but that there was never a plan for him to be a part of the MCU. I think it's just too... Spider-Man's complex enough with the rights. Going to Venom, I don't think they wanted to deal with that.
Is like, we were watching a trailer
That's the
beforehand,
weird part.
because he references Venom, so he's from Venom's universe, but then you have fucking Michael Keaton's Vulture in the universe from the MCU. So, what is it?
It could just be an alternate universe Vulture. It's an easy fix. It's annoying because it looks like they're setting things up and then going back on them. So,
But if that's going to be the Sinister Six in the Sonyverse, then what the fuck are you going to do with Peter?
you fight. You still put him against Kingpin. You put him against MCU Venom now. There's other villains that the MCU has access to that Sony's allowing them to use. Like, what's his face? His name is Nacho in Better Call Saul. He's going to be Scorpion.
Yeah.
So you still have some of those. You could still do an MCU Sinister Six.
Did you see the comic accurate Rhino coming in from the multiverse?
Yes, yeah. The Kraven the Hunter there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some other Spider-Man villains.
Oh, is that what?
It's like, are there people in the sky or am I dying?
Oh, is that when they were doing they were showing who was about to come in from the multiverse? I was wondering who was in there. I couldn't make anybody out.
I tried to see the second time, who's... I was like, I didn't get any of that. You guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is our review for Spider-Man No Way Home, a fun movie, a movie that we will definitely be talking about for years to come. And it looks like more fun stuff may be on the way as well, when you pay attention to some of these rumors about Secret Wars, Garfield coming back maybe to be the Sony Spider-Man. It's a fucking mess. But at least this was good.
Thank God.
Good movie. Thanks for listening. Comment your thoughts down below.
Real quick, where do you put it?
I've got it number 6 in the MCU, number 2 behind Into the Spider-Verse for Spider-Man movies.
Damn. I agree. I haven't put in my MCU rankings yet, but I think it's top 5.
Yeah, I think it's either 5 or 6 right now for me. It's around WandaVision and I think The Avengers. I forget. I always forget my list.
This audio was on, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Damn. We were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Bo says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.